Gen X grew up on late-night warnings.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Scared, straight.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
And were inspired by movies that defined a generation.
We were all pretty bizarre. Some of us are just better at hiding it, that's all.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
I feel the need for speed.
We found our attitude in comedy.
I'm Gumby, damn it!
You see that sign? No shirt, no shoes, no dice.
Right. Learn it. Know it. Live it.
And our identity in pop culture.
I want my MTV!
I want my MTV.
I want my MTV.
What you talking about, Willis?
Keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
This is Gen X Men with Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhide.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
As always, Bill Rowland here, Gary Dollarhide there. Good morning, everyone, or good evening, or wherever you're listening, or when you're listening to it. Welcome, episode number 23 of Gen X Men. Yes, we are back for another week of, I don't know, hilarity?
Yeah.
Somewhat? I don't know.
Talking about things that interest us. May
There
not
you go.
interest everyone, but it interests us.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. It's just it's basically a video version of our phone calls that we make to each other every week. That's pretty much what it's come down to at this point.
and the great thing is I don't have to hold it next to my ear.
Right,
We can
exactly.
just sit here.
Exactly. So, first off, did you survive? You guys, we only got like an inch or two, maybe 3 inches of snow. School, of course, was closed on Monday this past week in the area, but we didn't get like, I saw friends of mine that are in Boston that they got absolutely
They
hammered.
got hammered, yes.
Yeah, and I know too, Rhode Island, University of Rhode Island was supposed to go to St. Bonaventure and play. We're recording this on Thursday, so they're supposed to play on Wednesday. It was still so bad they couldn't get out Tuesday. Like the next day, they couldn't travel. So they're actually playing tonight, which would be the 26th on Thursday. They're playing this evening because they couldn't get out of Rhode Island until yesterday.
Well,
So they had
Rhode
to move
Island's
back today. So
the size of a good county, and they might have one truck. I don't know. It's
yeah,
not that big.
that's true. That's true. But anyway, did you
Yeah.
guys survive it?
Oh, we
Obviously,
did.
you're
We
here,
we ended up with probably another 9 inches on Monday.
All right.
And then we got another 2 inches yesterday. But again, Maine, Northeast, New England, those boys get out there with the plows and it doesn't really slow anything down. So it's been kind of
Again,
like, all right,
I
whatever.
still say just push it right into the ocean. That's
Well, you
solution.
could, they used to, but a certain segment of our population feels that somehow that dirty snow being pushed into the ocean is horrible. So
Well, if
not
it-
like
I-
the snow falls in the ocean.
Right. But I mean, I get the idea that if you had salted the roads or something like that, maybe that would be a little. I mean, I know you're pushing into the ocean, salt
Salt
water.
water, right?
I think it's
You're gonna add
different.
more salt.
It's actually a little bit different. But I know there were parts when in Central Maine, we've talked about this before, that I know they would take the big trucks and just dump it into a lake. They had nowhere else to put the snow, so they'd get the dump trucks, they'd fill it. The dump trucks would go to a lake, literally dump it, and just
Yep.
be like, well, it'll melt, it'll do something eventually.
And that's what we're in the stage now because there is so much snow that's accumulated
Right.
over the past month and a half. They are having to load it up and get it out of here to keep sidewalks clear, parking
Right.
lots open. But there's a lot of designated fields that they go dump it in, and they kind of
Yes.
say, okay, that's the dirty field now. We dump
Right.
the snow there, but don't do anything else with it.
Right.
Don't build a
Right.
playground on it.
I've always wondered if there was a way, and it would probably be way too much energy and gas and everything else. Why couldn't you come up with a system where you could just melt it into steam?
Well, certain
put it-
places have
Put it in a
melters.
truck. Yeah.
It's a long, like 18-wheeler truck bed. It's a melter, but then they freak out on the runoff, getting in the water treatment, and it's just you can't win. That's the problem.
Yeah. Again, my thing is if you haven't treated it with chemicals, if you're just scooping up the snow
Mhm.
and turning it into steam, what's the problem? You're just speeding up nature because that's what's going to happen when it melts off anyway.
And that's my point. Whether you dump it in a lake, I mean, again, treatment, salt. You got to be careful of that. But the ocean, you're never going to oversalt the ocean.
Right.
Maybe there's some random stuff that gets scooped up, but it's going to wash ashore. It happens all the time as it is. But again, there's a certain segment of the population that just everything's got to be perfect.
Yeah,
we can't let nature take its course one way or the other. So.
I get it. All right, we'll leave it with that. Let's get into our stuff for this week. Got to wrap up the Olympics. Of course, it happened a week ago, and when we talked last week, I believe it was the next day, the next morning, that the women won the gold medal.
Yes,
in hockey, and I think I texted you at the time and asked if you were watching it because it was an incredible game. And it looked for the longest time like, I can't believe this. They have dominated the entire time, this entire tournament. And all of a sudden they're down 1-0. And it's like, I cannot believe this is going to happen, that they're not going to figure out a way to win this thing. And then they get the tip in goal in the third period, late in the third period too. It was coming down to it. And in fact, I think they'd pulled their goalie maybe at that point.
Yes. Because I tuned in late. I had not watched the whole thing, and I was like, they pulled the goalie? Like, what? It just, again, I'm not a huge hockey fan, even though I live up here. Right. So it's kind of like when they mentioned that the goalie had been pulled, I said, oh, that in that desperation time? And yes, that's the whole, so yeah, I watched it again. Wouldn't normally watch it, wouldn't think about it, but it was good. It was exciting.
Yeah, of course.
It was Friday morning. It was, yes, because I was at work. Yep.
One team had USA on their jersey, so I'm watching. I've already established that. They could have been playing marbles, and I would have been screaming at my TV. Like I do with the curling. I did that with the curling too when they were doing
slide that rock.
I was like, yes, yes, great sweep. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what they're doing. I was just like,
we'll cheer for it.
A good stone throw there. Nice job. But yeah, so then they tied it up, and I'm, fist pumping and USA and in front of my TV and everything else. And then that goal they scored in overtime was amazing. A little toe drag and brought it back to the middle and 5-hole for the win. And I'm fist pumping and USA and everything else. And then 2 days later, I got to do the same thing all over again. It was fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
Those two games finishes were tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like they just blew them out and it was over. Both games went down, go to overtime. And just on a side thing, I don't know how the overtime rules work in the NHL, but 3-on-3.
That's the NHL rules.
Oh, it is? Okay, because I was like, that seems amazing. Like, strip the teams down and just go at it till one of you wins versus, you have to do this. Or didn't they used to do shots on goal or something?
Well, no, they would do. It used to be NHL. It used to be it ended in a tie.
Okay,
you'd play.
You got a point for it or something,
right? Yeah. You got a point still. Now they do 3-on-3, and then they do a shootout.
Oh, okay,
so
shootout.
There are regulation wins, overtime wins, shootout wins, all that kind of stuff. So if you get to overtime, you get a point, even if you end up losing in overtime or the shootout.
Okay.
So that's what it is. Now they always one team will always get 2 points, one team will always get 1 point. That it used to be you got 2 or you got 1 or you got none if you lost. But now it's you get it to overtime, you get a point. That's why they say, hey, on the road, if you can get to overtime, you got your point. That's that's the whole thing. But
quick translation.
I would rather see him do 4-on-4. Okay. Honestly. I know 3-on-3 tends to end it. I mean, look how quick those 2 overtime games went. I'd rather see it 4-on-4. I think it would be more true to the game than, taking 2 people off the ice. But, hey, I'm not complaining. We got the gold medal in both, so it was awesome.
Yeah. Well, a side note, I was trying to translate that to other sports. Like, okay, instead of, basketball, we always talk about overtime and foul. Nope, we're going 3-on-3 now for the next 5 minutes.
I mean,
sudden death doesn't work as well in basketball.
Right. I was going to say, couldn't do it that way in basketball.
But football, nope, we're going down to 7-on-7. Just really tweak it and get it done. So,
yeah. Well, I mean,
But
they kind of do it with like the college football overtime where they're like, all right, start to 25, go. That's,
I do like that better.
It's not bad, but it's not football. Like, you should have to drive, you should have to go the length of the field or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I like the fact that the NFL changed it to that everybody gets a possession at least. So, I mean, that works.
Do what you're going to do. I do like that. Yeah.
Right. But I'm not a big fan of this. You're already in field goal range when you snap the ball the first time you have it at the 25, especially in the NFL. 40-yard field goal is,
Nothing.
I mean, it's automatic. I mean, it's if you're missing that, your kicker's getting fired usually. I mean, it's so. But yeah, it was awesome until everybody got involved,
right?
and then it was just like within hours. People, I was just like, I'm thrilled on Sunday. I can't believe this was amazing. I, got up and watched it, and then I go and get lunch or whatever, and I'm getting ready because again, the snow was supposed to be coming Sunday, and it started snowing Sunday afternoon. So I wasn't out doing anything. I'm like, all right, so I'm sitting down and starting to work on stuff. I had a coach's show with Mason on Monday, so I'm sitting down doing that kind of thing, and I'm scrolling around the internet looking for stuff, and all of a sudden I'm seeing like all these people are pissed about the men's hockey team, and I'm like,
for
what is going on? Like what? And I just like, you know what? This is why you can't. I know everybody. This isn't a shut up and dribble comment that people have made in the past, but here's the deal. I didn't vote for Trump in 2024. I didn't vote for Trump in 2020. I didn't vote for him in 2016. I didn't vote for Obama in 2012. I didn't vote for Obama in 2000. You get where I'm going. I don't vote for any of these people because none of them have my interest in mind. They're all about, I don't care. Don't even comment. Don't contact me. You will not win this argument with me because I will not change my mind. There is not a president that we have had in the last 30 to 40 years that wasn't in that office to enrich themselves.
Or other people.
Yeah. Point blank. In Congress, senators, all of them the same.
Worse.
Governors, I have no use for any of them. I don't care what color tie you have, what team you think you're on. I have no use for you at all. However, I still, as I've said, if 8-year-olds are playing marbles and one kid has a USA on his back, I'm rooting for that kid. I'm still very patriotic. So I don't care who you are. If you've got USA on, I'm rooting for you.
Yep.
I don't care about that skater that was talking about how she didn't like representing the country and she felt marginalized and all that. I don't care. Did I want her to win? Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm ticked that was it Eileen or Elaine Gu who grew up in San Francisco and is now skiing for China.
Yeah.
I'm mad at her because you grew up in San Francisco. Look, you. I don't care. I'm not in anybody's pockets. If they paid you to do that, good for you. You made your money. I don't care. I personally wouldn't do it. But so my point is, any of these people, I have no use for any politician at all on any level. But to make it out that, well, it's terrible that these guys took a call from the president. They have no idea what he's going to say on that phone call. And it would be completely inappropriate for them to be like, oh, we should hang up on the president. He made a joke about the women's. Like, let it go. Like, it's their moment. They celebrated how they celebrated. So no matter what, I'm going to, even if I don't approve of who the president is, and I haven't for years, I don't care which party you're in. If I was invited to go to the White House, and I've been on a White House tour before, if I was invited to go to the State of the Union, I would not care who the president was because it's about going and respecting the office, not necessarily the person that's in that office. That's right. It's ridiculous that they're, and here's one more thing, and I'll get your thing on this. If you're dumb enough to believe that the teams that you root for all vote and have the same values that you do, stop watching sports right now because they don't. I don't care if it's an entire women. I don't care if it's a WNBA team. I don't care if it's an NFL team. I don't care what team it is. All of them do not vote the same way you do on every issue. Fact. It's a fact. Your friends all don't vote the same way that you do on every issue. And if they do, and those are the people you hang out with, you have a sad life.
Yeah. It's not even vote. It's just not everyone has the same mentality. That's the thing.
Right.
So here's my problem. And this comes from my public safety background, is everyone wants to analyze everything to the detail after something and say, well, this and that and should have. And what everyone fails to understand is the moment. Things happen in the moment at speed, and you could be focused on something else, but something else is happening over here, and it just So, getting mad at them for taking the call from the president of the United States, forget your politics. Like at that moment, the president called? Okay, great. Right. These guys their mind is, we just won. They've got 100 other things going through their head. They weren't stopping and go, well, hold on here. How does this, wait a second. That's not what's happening. And so to get mad about it is just even dumber. I mean, The same thing with Kash Patel showing up. Look, he's a hockey guy. So if you start with that premise of, yes, he was there on official business, but he's a hockey guy. He didn't show up at like figure skating or curling and insert himself something that was, he's a hockey guy. So of course, when, hey guys, the director of the FBI is here. And they probably already know that he's a hockey guy because, again, this is known information. Right. They go, oh, cool, come on in. This is great. They're not thinking, well, politically, I don't know if this is a great idea. Did he pay to be? I mean, just people get caught up in all these things after the fact and in their own minds trying to analyze what other people do. And so where I relate that to public safety, and I hate to say it, we go into these shooting videos. Boy, they will tear apart those videos. They have days, they have hours. Well, what should have happened? Well, what should have happened may be true. I'm not saying it's all wrong. At that moment, your brain's running 100 miles an hour. There's a lot of other things going on going, is this realistic? Should this happen? Not happen? It's reactionary. Right. And so that's where I kind of tied into people just need to stop ruining things with this over-analysis, over-judgment after the fact. Yes, there's things we can look at and say, this wasn't a good idea. This shouldn't have happened. But the embroilment of anger because they took a call from the president or they took a call from, the FBI director showed up. Just calm down and just let it be for a moment.
Just root for the fact that these guys won the gold medal. They celebrate how they celebrate. If they don't celebrate the way you would have celebrated, so what?
So that's perfect wording right there, Bill. If they don't celebrate the way you would, let it be. Right? Because that's what it's all about. We all don't do things the same.
Right. And and again, as far as Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and all, I got a lot of problems with them too. A lot of problems with what's been done with the Epstein files and everything else. But you know what? It's not going to change anything. If he flies back from Italy and doesn't go to the gold medal game and doesn't go in the locker room with them when they celebrate, you know what? The Epstein files are still not being released. So miss me with this whole, wow, he's got time to sit around in Italy and go to the hockey game, but he doesn't have time. Shut up. If he had flown back home, it's not like going to that gold medal game kept him from doing his job because, quite frankly, they're not doing their job anyway. So, that's just the reality of it. So, one other thing before we move on from this. This is the other thing that, and I've seen it all over, not X as much. I've seen people reposting it from other things. I see some stuff on TikTok and Threads and whatever. This idea, and again, before you start screaming misogynist and everything else, I was an original season ticket holder for the Washington Mystics when the WNBA started. I have coached women's basketball, girls basketball for 30 years now. Actually, about 30 years, maybe even a little bit more than that. So miss me with this whole you hate women's sports, everything. I do not. I've seen it up close for a number of years. I dated a college basketball player at one point. Okay. So I am very much in support of women's athletics. I think it's great. I think they go on to become CEOs. It's better for them than anything else when they're young to be a part of a team and learn leadership and all that stuff. So that being said, there were a couple of people online that were like, we shouldn't be celebrating the men as much as the women because the women played a team game. These guys were all about the individual. Like, they were a much better team. Like, showing also, they dominated much more than the men did. They were a better team. And this was the kicker that I saw, and I couldn't believe. I only saw a few people because I think most people are smart enough, but it made me wonder what goes through somebody's mind when they go, the women's team with their teamwork would kick the men's butts. And I just stopped and I stared at my phone and I went, I cannot believe there are people this stupid in the world.
Wow.
I love the women's hockey team. I love them. Hillary Knight, that was amazing. She's phenomenal. They're all phenomenal. They would have no prayer. None. Now, could they beat a beer league men's team? Of course. Of course they could.
Yeah.
But if you're doing apples to apples, no shot. That game doesn't get through the first period because the checking, the speed, everything, the men would absolutely annihilate them, and they would admit that.
Yeah.
It's baffling to me.
Well, real quick, people who say that don't know sports, and that's the reality. You don't know sports if you think in certain games that have physicality, basketball, hockey, there's no comparison. Now, if it's curling, right? Because it's not so much different. So women can absolutely compete with men. Tennis probably too.
They have co-ed. They have co-ed curling. Yeah, there's a mixed, what they call mixed doubles teams or whatever it is. Same thing in tennis. But if it's just, again, yes, every single one of those hockey players on the U.S. women's team would crush me because I don't even know how to skate. Every top-end tennis player would, every WNBA player would crush me because I'm 55 with bad knees. Okay,
right.
This isn't about I'm better than them. I'm not.
No.
But if you're comparing the U.S. women's Olympic team to the U.S. men's Olympic team, it's not close. It's the same reason why nobody has taken up. I don't care if you like Clay Travis or not. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Clay Travis has had a standing $1 million bet that he could find a boys state championship high school team that would run circles around the WNBA champions. No one has ever even suggested that they take him up on that bet. You know why? He would win. It's just facts. There's nothing wrong with it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it at all. But even a mediocre college men's team would annihilate a WNBA All-Star team. It would not even be close after the first half. It would be over, lock, done. Nothing against the WNBA. Again, I was a season ticket holder when the Mystics first started. I love all that stuff. But to even suggest that it would be a competition at all is ridiculous.
Yep. Well, let's circle back because I think we're in the matrix. All
right.
The whole Jack Hughes thing.
Yes.
Like, can you even make that up? Can you write it?
It's
amazing.
I
didn't know about it till they showed the clip from the movie of them scratching his name off. And I was like, no, they just AI'd that, right? And I went and looked, I was like, that was real. And so he didn't make that team. He actually had a short career, played hockey, and then his namesake, no relation at all, comes back 46 years later to be the hero. It's like, are we living in the Matrix? Are they writing stuff around us and we're not sure what's real, what isn't?
It's wild. Yeah, there was to give people the backstory. There was a Jack Hughes that was trying out for the 1980 Olympic team, and he was one of the final cuts. And he didn't make the team. Obviously, he got cut. Mm-hmm. And then, as you said, 46 years later, this Jack Hughes wins the gold medal for the U.S. and no relation, which is pretty wild because his mom was a U.S. women's hockey player and still coaches with U.S. hockey as well. So I don't know. Is Hughes that common of a name?
Not that I'm aware of, at least not
mean,
here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. Yeah, it was that was pretty wild that you had a Jack Hughes that got cut in 80 and no relation, and now you have Jack Hughes 46 years later winning the gold medal. So yeah, that was pretty wild. And yeah, you're right. It's so weird that these things line up, all the like strange things like that all the time. It's not like his name was Jack Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
right.
Or Jack Johnson or whatever it is. I mean, it's pretty wild. Pretty cool.
But overall, no, I enjoyed this Olympics. We did pretty well as a team.
Yeah, best we've ever done.
And I do love the story about, and I forget her name, Hughes. Or no, what was the girl that won the gold medal? I'm blanking this morning. I apologize.
In what sport?
Figure skating.
Oh,
I kept confusing her with the other one, Alicia Liu. No, anyway,
Gu was the skier. Elaine
the skier. Yeah.
Let's see. U.S. figures.
I can't believe I'm blanking this morning. I haven't had all my coffee yet.
I know. It's all right. You had it right. Elisa Liu.
Liu. Yeah. I loved her.
LIU.
Yeah. I loved her story because, again, things you find out how, she was 13, skated, won something, went to Beijing, stunk the place up, right? Yeah. And then says, yeah, I'm done with this. Tired of the training, tired of the diets. I'm going to go do my own thing for a few years. Then comes back and says, maybe I want to skate again. And they were telling her, like, hey, you're a little too old at this point. Like, let it go. Nope, I want to do it. And boom, comes out of nowhere and wins the gold. So, those are the great stories I love about the Olympics when we find out. Because, again, not all these sports, are people who end up with multi-million-dollar contracts playing at the professional level, say in the U.S., but perseverance, what they go through to reach, for them, their top of the game, and just, I love these stories. And then I know there were some others, but that one just kind of stuck out where instead of the usual, I kept grinding, kept doing it. Nope, I'm taking time off. Yeah. I'm going to be a teenager and enjoy myself. And then I'm going to come back and beat you all. So
yeah, it was great. The other thing you mentioned about, look, I won't care about women's figure skating until 2030 now. I won't have any idea who wins the U.S. Nationals, who wins the world. I'll have no clue because I won't care. And that's just the reality of it. Sorry, there's only so much room for sports in my brain. Figure skating is not going to be a part of it. But the thing, and we talked about it last week when we were talking about Miracle on Ice and everything. The guys, like, watching them give the silver medals to the Canadians, and they were bummed. I mean, you could tell those guys really cared.
Well, they got handed a stuffed animal.
Well,
right. That's the running joke that I love. And it happened on multiple fronts. It's like, here's your medal for second, bronze, silver. And to make you feel better, here's a little stuffed animal. Yeah. And you, especially the hockey guys, you just see it in their face like,
they just look at it like,
but the women's hockey, same thing. You saw they were like, this one girl, I remember she looked at it just like, okay.
Right.
So,
but even different for the women because they don't have the same, they're not getting the same money, the contracts and everything else. No. The Canadian guys, they were bummed, obviously. But you know what? At the end of the day, they're all going back and making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to play their sport. It's always, like you said, the ones that I'm not going to pay any attention. I will never know what Alyssa Liu, if I'm saying her name right. And if I'm not, I apologize. I won't know what she does between now and 2030. And if she's not back in 2030, I'll have no idea. I mean, it's no different than gymnastics or, any of those. I won't pay any attention. And that's just the reality of it. So yeah, it's cool that every 4 years, well, now every 2, because they've scattered the Olympics. It used to be in the same year. Every 2 years, you get these cool little stories and then they go away, and that's fine. They get their 15 minutes. It's nice.
Yeah. No, I think that's what's great about the Olympics. It gives us that exposure every so often to stuff that we're just, whether you say it's driven by media here or what, we just don't get the coverage. And all of a sudden, hey, look, curling, right?
Right.
You know, and you get to see someone who's at the top of their game at whatever it is. I
Right.
mean, so
That's the coolest part of all of it. Is
Yes.
you're getting to see the best of the best at everything that they like. We joke about curling. If you or I, or you know what, pretty much anybody listening or watching this went out and tried to do curling, you'd suck at it. You'd
Yes.
be terrible. You probably wouldn't even be able to get it down the ice because look how much they have to bend over and lean and push off with your. We couldn't do it.
Yeah.
We might be able to throw on an empty sheet. Maybe you'd be able to figure out how to get it to stop. Maybe in one of the 8-foot rings. Maybe.
Mhm.
But we'd suck at it.
Yeah. Well, hey, when you're at the top of your game, and I will liken this real quickly, cornhole. Everyone knows about cornhole. I watched this episode where they were talking to the guy, and he could feel how the beans were in the bag or whatever the fill is, and know I'm going to turn it a little bit more this way because it feels. And I was just like, you were in the presence of someone who's mastered their craft when they can sit there and go, yeah, it felt a little heavy on this end, so I think I'm gonna turn it a quarter turn to kind of throw it this. Like, what are you just?
No, it's ridiculous. All those people that do that kind of stuff, dart players, pool players. I mean, it's all ridiculous. We were talking about before the show. And are you watching this now? Survivor. I can't believe it. It's Survivor 50.
Ultimate competition right there. Yes, Survivor 50.
That's
we are
amazing.
talking. I mean, it's a seasonal distortion because they've been putting 2 out per year.
Yeah,
but it's 26 years in running, and that makes it one of the longest running overall television shows in history. And backstory for you and I that the world is going to find out: when we were young bucks working at CBS Westwood One back in, I think it was 98.
Late 90s. Yep.
I remember you came running into my office. And so this is an internal publication in the CBS family at that point.
Right.
And you're like shaking the paper. I've got it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And you read off how CBS was putting together this show and they were casting and they were going to put these people on an island and not feed them and make them do things and the ultimate survivor. And you're like, we got to get in on this. And we just, and here we are, now almost 28, 30 years later. And it's one of the longest running television shows.
Yeah. It would have been, I think it would have been fun. Now, also full disclosure, I don't think I've watched a full season of Survivor ever. Even after I was excited about how it was going. I mean, look, I was excited. Big Brother came out right about the same time. Because I can remember like watching the different I just leave the cameras on my computer in the office and just every once in a while check in, and they're out in California. So for us, it was a lot of, they're still asleep. It was like, it was literally like watching zoo animals.
Yes.
You just wait for them. Hey, is the guy getting up yet?
Are they awake?
Are they feeding? Look at them eat. They're eating cereal.
No, Big Brother is another 27-year veteran.
So I remember that too. So
same disclosure. I mean, I watched it for the novelty, definitely the first, second. I don't remember much after the third. Because then it just becomes repetitive of they had certain people cast a certain way.
Right.
The villain, the mom, the this, the that. And it's just like, all right, how many times? I mean, the only cool thing that they did early on was they were changing locations.
Right.
So they would bring in, if you want to call it a regional flair, some, because they went to China, they went here, right? So they were kind of changing it. But my understanding is for the past 10 or 15 years, they've been solely based in Fiji. So you're not getting, they changed the game, but they haven't changed that nature of, well, this storyline this year is about pirates in here. And they don't do that anymore. Right. They've actually changed it to where now it's more like a real game versus surviving and the drama. Like they've cut down, I know they've cut down production days, and it's just constant when they're engaged in filming and production that, it's nonstop, no rest days. And it's designed to be more like a game show than it was the original intent of an experiment, if you will.
Right. Can you actually survive? Because didn't they used to give them like 1 or 2 days in between all of the, what do they call it? the tribal council.
challenges. Yeah.
So
There
you
was
do-
rest days.
Yeah. And just to make them sit around and be like, boy, this is because wasn't it supposed to be 30 days or something that they
Yes,
that they
30
had
days.
to survive out there?
Yeah.
And you would get
And-
maybe think a couple things of rice or whatever.
Yeah, low food intake. Like they weren't like some of the challenges were to actually win food.
Right,
So
right.
I remember a couple times there was a tribe that just wasn't winning the challenges and they hadn't eaten in 7 or 8 days. They're eating whatever they can fish for or find, but obviously you take people out of the city and throw them on an island and say, hey, go catch fish. Not going to work out too well.
Right.
So, there was people like losing 40, 50 pounds. I remember, I think there was a person who had to get pulled because they were so
I'm sure.
malnourished.
Yeah.
It was like, nope, can't do that. But yeah, now it's more game show style. But still, I mean, a quarter century. I mean,
That's
you
amazing.
think about it. That's a long time.
Yeah. No, it's
so-
done well. I tapped out on Big Brother after the 1st couple because they were doing the same type of thing where it's like, oh, they're just bringing this cast type person in, and it just ended up not being. I'm kind of out on all the reality shows. Like I never got into Real Housewives of whatever city. Like Kardashians. I never watched any of that. It just, I don't know, never appealed to me. The only one that I consistently still watch is The Amazing Race.
Yes.
And most of the time, it's because I want to see the cities they go to.
Yes.
It has nothing to do. I mean, some of the competitions are cool, but those even get repetitive after a while. And they've even fallen into, we need to have the script of here's the married couple, here's the gay couple, here's the brother and sister, here's the mom and, like whatever it is, here's dad and daughter, here's mom and son. Like they've fallen into that trope so many times, oh, here's the former athletes and that kind of stuff that I'm just like, okay, I get it. I know who you're trying to make us root for, depending on what, lifestyle and background you live, but I want to see the cities because they go to really cool places still. So
yeah, and I mean that show to me, even with some of that you said, it's still exciting because the different places and what they're doing, like they're still competing. There's time crunches, and did you get your wheel come off the vehicle in transit, so you were in first, now you're in fifth. I mean, it's competition, and I think that's why we like sports. It's still the competition, but. Going with that, it brings us to, and what we were going to talk about is reboots of, specifically on this episode, we're going to talk television series.
Yeah.
Like the content creation, like you said, it's the same thing. We're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, because whatever, the formula works and people watch it. We've kind of, actually, if you look at it, we've seen that some in the television. We can get into movies. That's a whole different ballgame.
It's
but
a way different
rebooting. And that came up because my personal, right now, hobby is late at night when I'm going to bed, I will turn on these 1970s shows.
Okay.
Columbo. Currently, right now, I'm knee deep in the Rockford Files. And that's what spawned this because I read somewhere, hey, we're going to reboot the Rockford Files. I'm like, oh, here we go. You guys keep doing this, and it just doesn't work out all the time.
Is it CBS again?
I think it is, yes.
Because they are the king of doing that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody else that loves redoing a show that was popular
Well, let's try
40
it again.
years ago than CBS.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even sure. I mean, I guess, what is it? Brand extraction? Because if CB says we're going to redo
Is that what they call it?
I think that's what it's called technically.
We don't have any original ideas, so we're just going to go back into time
and see what we can do. I mean, think about it. If I was looking to reboot a show, I don't know if the Rockford Files would be the one I would pick. So I have to look at it like, why do they choose that? Because it was James Garner in the original.
Yep.
He was
Amazing.
a private investigator.
Yep.
Making $200 a day plus expenses, which I had to go for whatever, 1970. That's pretty good money.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And lived in a trailer by the beach. So I don't know if that's the show. I'd be like, yeah, we've got to reboot that because there's people calling for that. I could think of others, but I'd reboot a soap opera before I would do that. But anyway, so I mean, there's just, if you look at it, I mean, another outlandish one right now I know is Matlock.
Okay.
Again, CBS Paramount.
Right. I was gonna say CBS again, and I've watched 0 episodes of it. I don't think I watched any episode even when, God bless his soul, Andy Griffith was still on there. I didn't watch it then either. But I'm aware of it because they show it all the time. Like when you're watching an NFL game on CBS, coming up tonight, 60 minutes, followed by a new episode of Matlock. Like, okay. Now, is she supposed to be, it's Kathy Bates, right?
Yes, it is.
Is she supposed to be Andy Griffith's Matlock, like niece, daughter, long lost younger sibling, half sister? Like, what is she to the original?
Here's the fun part, Bill.
Okay.
There is absolutely no connection whatsoever with the original show. They just used the name.
Okay, so there's nothing that attaches her. Like, she's not even faking using his name because he was a famous lawyer and she's trying to follow in his footsteps and like basically trade off his name. They don't recognize Andy's character at all?
At all. The only similarity is that she's working as an attorney for the story arc of trying to uncover how a firm covered up their relationship with Big Pharma because her daughter died of an opioid overdose.
So
there is no connection. Not like he was my cousin. I think once, because I haven't seen them all, once or twice they made a joke about, like the old TV, but there is no like cousin, no connection, zero, none. There's your brand extraction, I guess. Yeah. Rename the show the same.
Yeah.
And then you bring in an older actress, and maybe that's why the attachment being the Tiffany Network. Oh, we'll get some old people who remember the old Matlock. They'll like the new one. I'm not saying it's a great show. Like I said, I've seen only a couple, but it's just like, there's absolutely no connection. So,
awful.
But then if you look at, which I think was one of the better ones, some people was Frasier.
See,
and
you mentioned that yesterday when we were chatting.
Yeah.
I never knew until you said it. Then I kind of remembered, but I don't think I've ever seen them with the reboot when he came back. You said they came back to Boston from Seattle.
Yes. So that's the storyline. It picks up, where the original series ended. Right. Now he's moved back to Boston to be closer to his son. And we get into the father-son dynamics.
Okay.
None of the other characters, obviously, one I know is passed on, but the others aren't in it except in name only.
Okay. So they talk about Niles, but he never shows up.
Yes. They talk about Niles. Ross shows up in a couple episodes.
Okay.
So I think why that one worked more so is they said, we're not changing anything. We're just extending the story. We're updating the story. Right.
I'm okay with that.
So with them mentioning some of the other characters who aren't there, but still doing a new storyline, you never felt like it's just like, oh, we're back into this. Okay. And yeah, I mean, time has changed, chemistry's changed with actors and stuff, but it didn't feel like a slap in the face. Like they were still true to the original. We're just moving on with the show with what we can do with some different creativity. And I think that's why you can't say it worked because they're trying to find a home for it off Paramount, but I wasn't offended by it because I've seen some things that have just been offensive, Knight Rider. I mean, good gracious.
Did Ted Danson or Shelley Long show up on it ever?
Not that I'm aware of. No, they didn't do any of the Cheers tie-in.
Okay.
It was just him back in Boston, teaching at Harvard, the interaction with his son, Freddie. So, but it was just nice, right? It was just a continuation of the story. So,
see, that's the kind of stuff I'm okay with that. I'm okay if you want to build on what's been done in the past. I'm not okay if you're just like, hey, remember this show? Here it is now. Like that, like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, did you like Tom Selleck and his mustache back in the day? Look, it's Magnum PI, but it's not Tom Selleck. Like, it's not. It's like, why? Why would I watch that then? If Tom Selleck and his glorious mustache and his reverse mortgages aren't available to me in Magnum PI, why am I watching it?
Right, Magnum PI, Hawaii Five-0, another
one.
another reboot where
Again,
there's
are those both? Wasn't Magnum PI? Was that CBS originally?
yes,
Yeah,
CBS.
again, CBS. They love to do nothing more than not have an original idea. They just love it. They're like, yeah, we'll just keep. I mean, again, Survivor's been on forever. They don't need anything new. They can just keep running that thing over and over again. Same thing with Big Brother. Same thing with Amazing Race. Doesn't matter. Just keep running. It's fine. By the way, going back to Survivor real quick.
Yeah.
The guy who is they don't call him the athletic director in public schools. They call it something else. Director of student activities, maybe DSA. I think that's what it is. The DSA at the high school that I coach at was actually on Survivor.
Oh, wow.
He only lasted I think 2 things before he got voted off. But he's been on Survivor. So that's kind of cool. We should have had him. I should have grabbed him to see if he could come on and talk about his Survivor days. But,
Well, I know there was one winner from Maine. He was I think, chemistry teacher outside of Portland, Bob Crowley. He lived on that fame for a little bit. So, I mean, we could have had Jurgen.
Sure.
I could have, ran down the street and grabbed Crowley. We could have had a big old Survivor discussion group.
That's right. Well, we could always go back to it. Let's see. I'll tell you which one it was because all I have to do is go to the Survivor wiki and it'll tell us he was on Survivor Ghost Island.
Ooh.
Yeah. He ended up in 17th place. Now I don't know what that means because I don't know how many. I guess there's only 20.
I think they started 20. So
yeah,
he was on there for 4 episodes.
He lasted 12 out of 39 days. Boy, the wiki here gives a lot of stats. And he won 2 challenges, but got 5 votes against him, and that's how he,
Yeah.
Yep. So.
But anyway, reboots.
Anyway, yes.
I mean, so CBS is obviously the king. I mean, ABC, The Wonder Years, that was on ABC. They tried to reboot that.
Was it on ABC or was it on one of their streamings?
I don't even know what it was on ABC for a little bit.
Okay. Never.
Folks, you have to forgive me. I really don't watch a lot of network TV. Just don't anymore. So I can't exactly say, but I knew Wonder Years because I remember when they came out and I watched one episode and said, okay. And the problem I had with that is we took this magical show of growing up and we said, okay, now we're going to parallel it. So now we've picked an African-American family in Alabama to show what they've grown up with. I'm not saying it was
time period. Do they take it back to the 60s?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're trying to make a political statement about it.
Well, and that's the thing. I won't say it's political, and it's definitely a different perspective that's warranted to be out there. But to me, it was all about the original show of, being a young kid and playing with your friend, right? And now we've turned it more into this, again, deeper social commentary of, well, this is what they were going through. And it's like, I'm here to be entertained, not thought-provoked. And that was my issue when they rebooted it that way with same time period, just different family, different place. It was like, you guys are trying to make it socio-political. The first one was just entertaining because it reminded us of being kids.
Right.
But maybe for other people, they could watch that and go, well, that's what it was like for me growing up. And that's fine. I don't think it was going to work for everybody necessarily.
And I'm okay with that. Just, I don't know that you necessarily should have called it the Wonder Years.
Correct.
Come up with a different name for it. I mean, I like the premise.
Brand extraction.
I mean, I like the premise of it. It would be interesting because it is going to be a completely different perspective, 60 some years ago compared to what they were talking about on the original show. But again, just call it something else.
Yeah.
It
could have been
a show.
I agree with you. Just give it its own title and say, this is what the show is about. And you, in your press and everything, say, hey, it's kind of like the Wonder Years, but we just, but they went down this road of it's the Wonder Years, right? They went too far with it.
Right. And you're like, no, that's not Kevin Arnold. That's not the people that I think that was his name in the Wonder Years.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was his name. Yeah.
It's not the same. Again, and I know we don't want to get into movies at all, but it's the female Ghostbusters. No, it's not the same, which is why true fans of the Ghostbusters don't even talk about that movie.
I never even saw it.
But
I had no interest because I felt probably the first, maybe the second Ghostbusters was all I ever needed.
Yeah.
That was just it. And to keep going, the franchise, like, all right, you kind of lost me on that. So.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, I know we don't want to get into the movies because there's way far away to do it. But when you're doing these things with these classical shows, I'm with you. You have to find a way. You can't just reboot it and be like, okay, here's Magnum PI, but it's a brand new Magnum who had nothing to do with the original, and we're not following the thread line of the original Magnum PI, for whatever reason. Not that they have to be canon, but you'd like it to be.
Yeah.
Like if you're just gonna say, oh, remember that show that you liked way back when? It's back.
Mm-hmm.
But none of the people that you liked way back then are back. So you have to like all these new people. Doesn't work.
Well, one of the knocks where they did try that was Fuller House from Full House.
Right.
They brought back some of the people.
And it did well. Didn't it on the streaming?
It did okay.
Thrilled with that?
I think so. But one of the knocks was, yes, you brought back the same people and we've extended their storylines. But here's the odd part. They wrote it to capture catchphrases and certain things from the original.
Right.
And people were just like, oh, we've been here. We've seen it. And
and the more important thing, we've moved on.
Yes.
Saying, I don't remember what the catchphrases were, but
yeah, that was one of the things I was reading about. They just said, yeah, it was great. We brought back people. We half extended the storyline, but then we kind of wrote it and made everything to try to mimic exactly what the original show was.
Doesn't work.
And that's one of the reasons why you said it lasted, but it wasn't like considered an overly great success from what I can tell. I remember bits and pieces of the first one, never saw the follow-up. So I
mean, I'm aware of it because you kind of had to be, it was such a cultural, huge thing that you had to know about Full House and everything else. But it's the same thing like Dallas. I grew up watching Dallas when I was a kid. I didn't understand all the plot lines or anything like that necessarily.
Mom and Dad
watched it because everybody watched it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like my mom and dad watched it. So Friday nights at 9:00, you sat down. I think it was 9, and you watched Dallas, and that's just okay. But when they tried to reboot it, they even had some of that tried to thread in like it was the children or what, and it was like. It's not Larry Hagman.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not the same. It just didn't work. I don't know why. That one didn't work either, even though they tried to go back and carry through the storyline. Some people liked it, the new one. I wasn't for me. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. One of the ones I liked that actually worked better, and I know you're not into this, Battlestar Galactica.
Never saw the original, so you'll have to tell the audience.
So the original was what you would expect, 70s, kind of cheesy,
pew pew laser guns, pew pew.
Exactly.
Nice.
Right? I mean, the storyline was great about them being a lost tribe and trying to find their way to Earth and battling the Cylons. So you had your sci-fi, you had your cheesy, but when they redid it in 2004, mind blowing. Because it became super dark, super serious. Tricia Helfer, who played the cyborg, like the cyborgs in the original were these big silver guys, and now you have this hot blonde Canadian model as the cyborg. So for certain audience, that's like, oh, hello there.
Right? Yeah.
But no, the storyline was gritty. It was dark. It was very serious. And I think they did a fantastic job of recreating the original story because it was still the same storyline. We're on the run. We're trying to get to Earth. But they took it in a darker, deeper direction and made it more serious. And I love that. I love the second one more than I did the first one. Now, people out there may disagree. You can tell us. But I actually enjoyed the second one from wow, this is like a serious show. And I like this.
Okay. Yeah. I again never saw the original, never saw the reboot, the remake, the whatever you want to call it, the extended version. I don't know. The only thing that to me that has really worked And it's because they wink and nod at themselves. They didn't take themselves serious. They knew it was all in fun. Was when they rebooted, in a way, Karate Kid, not the Will Smith one with his son,
Right.
not with whatever's Jaden's Karate Kid. I mean, when they brought back and went Cobra Kai, that was, I think, to me, one of the best jobs of, hey, we're going to stay true to the original. We're going to advance the story, and we're not going to take ourselves seriously because we know this is really campy. Like, they did a great job. It was really, really well done. Again, originally, it was just a show put up on YouTube.
Yeah, and when you told me that, I didn't even know that. I thought it was actually produced and done for streaming.
Yeah, no, it was done on YouTube first, and our buddy Gary Dollarhide, my buddy Dave Crispin told me about it. You're Gary Dollarhide. My buddy Dave Crispin told me about it and said, "Hey, have you seen this show?" I was like, "No," and I watched, because I'm not back then. I was like, I'm not watching shows on YouTube. Like, I'm not. This is not what I'm doing. And so I watched the first episode of it. And I was like, all right, that's kind of interesting. And I just never went back to it. And then it hit Netflix. And I was like, all right, well, now I'll pay attention to this. And was hooked right from the beginning. It was fantastic. They did such a good job of, was it Billy Zabka? Isn't that the guy who played Johnny? He was so good at being the villain still, but also you're kind of like, I feel bad for the guy, his life was ruined because of one thing. And they just did a fantastic job with it. It was awesome. That's probably, to me, the best reboot that I can think of off the top of my head, just as we're talking of. They stayed true to the original. They didn't take themselves seriously, and it was enjoyable all the way through the run.
Yeah.
It got outrageous at times, but that was okay because that's what made it fun. It was really campy at times.
Yeah. I never saw the YouTube ones, and maybe they converted it. I saw, I guess, whatever season 1.
Well, if you saw it on Netflix, you saw the YouTube ones because they just put it up on Netflix. Yeah, they just moved it from Netflix from YouTube to Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw the first season, maybe half the second, but I agree with you. I thought it was good because I was like, oh, right. We've continued the story.
Yep.
They're still their characters, but it's not overly serious. Storylines weren't crazy. Like, it was easy, logical, and that's not outlandish that this happened. They did a good job. Absolutely. And you're right. It's one of the few successful ones because, I was going through the list. I mean, from Quantum Leap, Saved by the Bell, Knight Rider. I mean, they've all tried moderate success, but nothing, real. But CBS, The Equalizer. Good Lord. So they had the original TV show. Then we have movies. And then we bring back the TV show, which had moderate. I never really watched the first, never even really watched the second one. The second one with Queen Latifah had the same name, but again, no connection to anything else. They just used the same storyline. Just got canceled late last year, so it ran 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So they got some run out of it, but just, hey, CBS, you just keep doing it.
This is the other thing, and I don't mind when it's like superhero movies or stuff like that because you have to suspend your belief on certain things anyway. But again, I like Queen Latifah. I think she's funny. I find her entertaining. I like her songs, everything else. There's no way she's beating up some of the people that she beats up, right? I mean, can we be serious about that for a second? That's not. It's going back to the women's hockey and the men's hockey team. That's not happening.
She has special training, Bill.
Okay,
that's the storyline. She has special training.
It's fine. It's fine. And again, I will say there are obviously MMA, jiu-jitsu, karate, whatever. There are women out there, freely admit, that would absolutely annihilate me in an octagon or wherever. I freely admit that. But all things being equal, she's not winning those fights.
Well, I have not watched it. I'm not saying I think the setup is it's not all fighting. It's knowledge and ability to help people out of jams, which maybe more than just a physical altercation
But
with.
that has been a thread here lately in a lot of movies where like these little 5'4" women are destroying some like bouncer,
A Navy
that's
SEAL.
Like 6'2". Yeah, like it's like I guess like, but you're just like, sometimes when I'll be like, that dude would just grab her by the shoulders, pick her up, and move her. Like it's like there wouldn't be this fight. There would be no fight. It wouldn't.
There would
wouldn't
be,
happen.
well, as I say, because this has come up in some other discussions, I won't get into it because it angers some people. There would be a fight. It's the question of how long it's going to last.
Well, yeah, right. I was saying
Right?
it wouldn't be a very
You can
long
call it the fight, but
Right.
the question is, how long is it going to last once
Right.
it gets going? And
Right.
so, yeah.
And again, for women that maybe watch this, we're not talking about you. You, of course, would win all of those
Yes.
fights. Yes.
Yes.
You would win. We're not
Yes.
talking about you necessarily. But
Right.
yeah, it's just goes right back to that again, that thread that I saw when they were like, the teamwork that the women's hockey team plays with is so much superior to the men. They would run circles around them if they played each other. I was like, what?
Well,
what are you talking about?
So we'll touch on it real fast.
Yeah.
You coach women's basketball.
Yes.
Is it more team oriented? Because you've also been around men's basketball.
Sure. For
Is
years.
it more team oriented in a subtle way than you would see on the men's side?
Not
I'm
necessarily.
asking.
No, it not necessarily, because it's still, look, you have really, really talented women that you can put in isolations and they can get to the rim, or it's just less athletic. We don't have, as a high school coach, I ain't got anybody that can dunk. I don't have everybody. Now we have a really, really athletic girl. She's a junior. She can jump. And we run a lot of back, like back screen lobs to her. She ain't catching and dunking. She'll occasionally catch it and lay it up off the backboard without like coming back to the ground. And you get a lot of the ooh when she does it.
Mm-hmm.
There are probably sophomores on the JV team at the high school that dunk. Like it's a different world. It's a completely different world. And that's what I say. Like we've had, just to give you an idea, to try to emulate some of the teams that we're going to play that are faster than us. Like there's one team that they have two really good guards and they like to get out and run, and their guards are a little bit faster than our guards. So we needed a way. We can't replicate it because we're not as fast as them. So we actually brought in like 6 or 7 freshmen boys to play against us and a couple of practices to get used to that speed.
The foot speed.
Yes. These are not 6 or 7 freshman boys that even made the freshman basketball team. These are just 6 or 7 freshman guys that were friends with a couple of the kids on our team.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't even good enough to make the freshman team at this high school. And they would run circles around us occasionally in practice. And because they're faster, even as freshmen, they're taller. I mean, our tallest kid is 6'2". So that's, again, they're taller, they're faster, stronger in most cases. Like the girls could score on them, but if they had any type of like, hey, we're going to run this, they were just playing pickup. We just said, when you get a rebound, run. When you get a chance, run, just go. Because we got to practice getting back.
Catching up and
Yeah, exactly. But if they got in, if they had any kind of, hey, we want you to run this set, they could score. They get shots off anytime they want. Now, whether they make them or not, it's a different story. But they get shots off anytime they want. So if they had any kind of talent, it would have been annihilation. Like we had played the freshman team, the actual freshman team practice before us one day. We borrowed them, and yeah, when they wanted, we're like, hey, run a 2-3, and they would get out, and the girls were stunned when we would run something, and they would go to take a corner 3, and then it would get blocked about 5 rows deep behind them. They're like, how did he get here? I'm like, yeah. It's like 2 steps, and he's jumping. He's going to block your shot because you're not getting it off quick enough. You're taking your time. You can do that when it's a 15-year-old girl running out at you. And it's no offense to them.
Yeah.
It's just different. It's way different. So that's why I say all those fights. Yes, if some doofus in a bar has 0 training, doesn't do any of that stuff, which would be me. I don't do any training. I don't do any of that stuff. So yeah, some woman who's been trained in hand-to-hand combat or whatever is going to destroy me. I get that. My fiance, who is 5'2", and she works out and everything else, we were messing around the other day and I forget what was going on. And I just literally just scooped her up.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, you're being a little mouthy, actually." But no, I'm kidding. That wasn't it. We were just screwing around. And I was like, I just picked her up and then just tossed her on the bed. And she was like, I mean, she just looked at me. It was like, wow. Like, and I'm like, yeah, that's, again, I'm not threatening you. This was all in fun. We were just joking around. So I picked her up and tossed her on the bed. But it was just like, I think that kind of realization, she was just like, oh, okay. This, like, because we've never had any kind of altercation like that or anything. But it was still that, like, oh, yeah, you can just throw me around if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So,
and
I never would, but I mean,
opposite side of that,
yeah.
For a short term when I lived in DC, I dated a U.S. Park Police officer.
Okay, see, that would be a problem.
She was a handful.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. I mean, it was playful, but it made me go, oh shit, she knows she could put a hurting on me. I mean,
Right.
she was in great shape. She worked out, obviously had the training.
Yeah.
And
that's the key.
yeah,
Training.
it was like, oh my goodness, this is not what I'm used to. So she was a handful.
Well, I mean,
So-
Carrie works out pretty much every day. I mean, she's, I freely admit, she's in much better shape than I am, but it's still different.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still just physically, it's still different. So
she's not going to smack you in the nose. I got smacked in the nose.
Well,
that was like the stunner. Like, what?
I mean, she might hit me in those if we were messing around. She might pop me one, but I mean, again, I'll go in and I'll be watching her do her workouts, whatever she has, and she's got her barbell and all the different weights and everything. And she was in there. This is a couple months ago now. This wasn't anything recent. And she's in there lifting it, and I was like, "How much is that?" And she goes, "Oh, I don't know. I just whatever the plates are." That they on the little workout thing they do, they're like, okay, put on these plates. This is the next thing we're gonna do. So she didn't know how much it was, and I went over and I said, "Oh, it looks heavy," because she was like, just doing squats, and she'd already been into her workout for a while, so she's probably tired. She's like, "Oh yeah, it's not easy," and I went over and picked it up, and I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "This is." I mean, it wasn't heavy. I was just like, "Okay." I was like, "Yeah, that is a lot of weight." And I put it back down, and she's like, "You lifted that really easy." I was like, "Well, it's like and that's why I said, I'm a guy. I'm like, it's just different. Like, it's just different. I'm not strong compared to other guys. I'm not strong at all. But compared to her, it's good. I'm going to be stronger than her. That's just reality."
Yeah.
So that's all. I mean, again, I freely admit she's in much better shape than me. She would kick my ass at tennis. She can't beat me at pickleball because it's a smaller court. I don't have to run as much.
Oh yeah.
And the serve is different too. You can't, I can't serve at all in tennis. I suck at it. I'm terrible. Can't serve. Pickleball, you just drop it and hit it. It's simple. It's like serving badminton. It's, there's nothing
I was
to
going
it.
to say, is it like a much larger version of table tennis? Because I know those guys can create spins and all sorts of crazy stuff off the racket hit.
I do that to her all the time because, again, if I just tried to play her straight up and volley with her, she'd probably beat me because she played tennis when she was younger. She played in high school, I think. So she's a better tennis player. I have no problem with admitting that. She would crush me at tennis if we actually sat down and said, okay, we're going to play point by point. I might win a game or two, maybe. And the games I would win is when she was serving because I can't serve. I would double fault or just have to lob it over, and then she'd smash it back at me. Pickleball, no chance. And she'll admit that. She cannot beat me in pickleball because the serving is taken out of it. And I know how to spin stuff all the time. And I'll spin it. And I'm like, I don't know how you can't see that. And it'll literally hit and go almost 90 degrees in another direction. And she's like, I don't know how you do that. She's expecting the tennis, to hit and come to her. And instead it'll hit and spin away from her. And she'll just be like, I can't do anything with that. So I'll try not to because I'm like, I feel bad. But anytime I need a point, I'm like,
here's what we're doing.
We're spinning this mug. This is going to be a problem.
She didn't play wiffle ball.
I guess not. No.
That's where you learn how the ball spins, right?
Yeah, well, it is basically a wiffle ball. A pickleball,
Okay.
it's all, it's not solid. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just, but again, it has nothing to do with anything other than I've played sports all my life, a lot of hand-eye coordination sports, but tennis wasn't one of them. So that's why she crushes me at tennis, because I didn't play it like she did growing up. Pickleball, very similar to table tennis / ping pong in the fact that you can use your spins, top spins, back spins, side spins, all that kind of stuff. She didn't play that growing up, because I've talked to her. I said, did you not play ping pong? She's like, no, not really. She's like, did you? I said, yeah, we had a table. So we had a table that you could fold up. I would sit
halfway.
If it was raining, I'd be on our porch. I would drive my parents nuts with that. I was like, so yeah, I played all the time. I remember one last story on that, and we're way off on a tangent.
I know.
I don't remember where we were with Mason. This is when Coach Larinaga was still the coach.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. We were on a road trip. I don't remember where it was now, but they had a ping pong table, like in, I don't know if it was a game room, wherever it was. And so the guys are all playing. Well, Larinaga was smoking all these guys. Like nobody could beat him. And so I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, I mean, Larinaga, he's athletic. I mean, I was like, it's probably pretty good. I'm watching. I'm like, I think I can take him. So I was like, I think I can beat him. And so they're sitting there, and I'm like, man, you guys aren't very good at this. Like, just to say something.
Throwing the challenge.
Well, yeah. And the guys were like, one of the guys who was doing okay, he's like, I'll play you. And I was like, all right. So I beat him like 11-2. Like, we stopped playing once we got to 11. And then somebody else was like, all right, let me give it a shot. I was like, all right. Beat him, whatever it was, bad. And then like, you got to play Coach L. You got to play Coach L. Like, Coach L, we think he can beat you. And, of course, then up here like, nah, Coach L's too good. 15-7 ball game. Crushed him. All the guys are like, oh, I can't believe it. It's like, well, I mean, again, had nothing to do with me being a better athlete at all than Coach. It's just, I probably played way more than he did growing up, and definitely played way more than any of them did growing up. So yeah, that's my ping pong story from playing Mason basketball players in ping pong. I don't know if I can still do that because it's been a while since I've played, but I don't think it would take me very long to get back.
I'd say the muscle memory is probably still there. It's just a matter of
it's just the reaction time may not be as good, because this is, again, I mean, Larinaga stopped being our coach 15 years ago. So this might be maybe even 20 years ago. I mean, it's been a while. So, I mean, I was probably in my early to mid 30s. But we had a ping pong table for the kids. And we used to have one down with my ex at the lake house. And I destroyed people because I played. So a lot of people didn't like playing with me because they knew they couldn't win. So
you were the Forrest Gump for them, huh?
I mean, kind of. I wish they were that good at it. It'd be amazing. I mean, I've played guys that have crushed me as well, because there are levels to this, as we know. Yep. And I'm pretty good for just a basement ping pong player. I'm pretty good. But guys, it's like playing it's like Jimmy, our friend Jimmy. Yep. I'm an okay for a basement. Hey, somebody's got a pool table in their basement. I won't get embarrassed. He would crush me because he's a really good pool player.
Yeah.
Because he probably grew up playing all his life.
Yeah. His father played, he learned. And that's why, I mean, and who knew this at the time, there are national champienships in the college level of intramural sports. And he was always representing Mason because he was just that good. But,
I said there are levels to this. And my level is I'm pretty good. Like, I'm okay at darts. I'm okay at pub games. But guys that play darts on the regular would annihilate me. Yeah. I freely admit that. But if I went with a bunch of my friends, there's a pretty good chance I'm going to do okay. I'll win a few games, lose a few games, depending on who's playing, but I'm going to do all right. But to play somebody who's used to it and has their own no shot, no chance.
You've got what, 6 years till 2032, because you won't qualify. I don't think you have the time to qualify for 2028 in LA. But
For what sport?
table tennis.
Oh God, no!
2032.
I wouldn't even be able to beat the people probably down at the VFW these days.
Well, I'm saying you got a few years to just focus, right? Just
those guys. I don't
just like the figure skater. She took time. You took time off, and now I'm back in. I'm ready to go.
Hold the ball like this, like they're back there. They're like, and then they just kind of drop it. I can't do that.
What I always found crazy is it's such a tight zone, right?
Yeah.
It's a small table if you really think about it. And watching those guys between their handholds and then they're in close, they're out close, big swings for this small zone. It's just people, if you haven't watched the pros, it is mind-boggling to watch it. And even more so when it goes 2-on-2. It's just
when they start smashing the ball back and forth and guys are able to hit it back and they're playing defensively, like spinning it. So they're like trying to slow it down. Like, I can't do any of that stuff. I can spin the ball pretty well, which again, the average basement ping pong player isn't used to that, because you used to just hit it back and forth. And then if you get it too high, somebody will try to smash it. People aren't really used to that, constantly cutting the ball and spinning it. It bothers people if you're not used to doing it that way. That's why like I said, the average person isn't used to it. Somebody who plays it would absolutely annihilate me. They'd spin it right back or they'd smash it and I would lose 11-0. It wouldn't even so yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Any more reboots before we jump out of here?
No, we covered. I mean, there's tons of them. They did MacGyver, but it just, it's all kind of they all fall short. I mean, that's really where it is. There's very few good ones that survive.
Saved by the Bell. The only thing I'll say about that, they didn't wait a decade or 30 years like they did like Magnum PI or other stuff. They just said, okay, these kids graduated. Here's the new freshman. That's why they called it the new class.
Yeah.
So I'll give them. I might give them a pass on it being a reboot. It's kind of more of a continuation. It just wasn't as good. That original cast of, Zach Morris and Kelly Kapowski and Slater and whatever they found with that group worked. And whatever they have the next group, it just didn't, because they tried to be like, okay, you're going to be the new Zach. You're going to, and it's like, no, those people are gone. Come up with something else. Come up with some new version of them, but not try to make it the same thing. And they tried to make it the same thing. And it didn't work.
Yep. And that's one of the repetitive things I saw is you have to give credit to, as I said, that moment in time, the writing, the actors, the chemistry that makes something great, and then you're unable to replicate it down the road. It's if you can, great, but most time it's not, because it's just creativity is just one of those things. It's that moment in time, that snapshot. Right. And something like they said, an example would be like Friends. That was just magical, right? But they said, what if one or two of them had been replaced with some other actor and they just didn't work, it wouldn't have gone on as long. And so that's always the gamble in the creative side of television movies, of trying to replicate that chemistry and just everything that came together at once to make something wonderful. It's hard to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think Friends, you make a great point with it, because you've seen, well, even like movies like Back to the Future, we've seen some of the cuts of other actors playing Marty McFly. And you're just like, oh, I think it was Eric Stoltz. Wasn't Eric Stoltz that was supposed to be Marty originally? And then they were like, And
so I think wasn't Tom Selleck was an Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I saw some of the footage for that, and it just makes you, again, we're used to what we saw, and you just look at it and go, oh, all right.
Like,
so
had to shave a mustache. Nobody had a mustache like that back then. Yeah. So, all right. Before we get out of here, you got any final thoughts for us?
Nope. Just going to pass along to those in Hollywood and everywhere else. Stop rebooting our childhood. Either extend it, do a good job, or just come up with something new.
This concludes this episode of Gen X Men with Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhite. Gen X Men is now off the air.